Alright, let's look at lesson 83 in Saxon 54. And it looks like we're going to be talking about sales tax. So you go to buy something, you want to figure out maybe what the sales tax is going to be, or maybe you look at how much money you get back on something. We're going to be talking about change that you receive back from something. Okay, so we'll deal with money. This is a great lesson, something that you're going to use your entire life. Okay, if you haven't already, let's take some time, pause the video, and deal with the warm-up questions here. You're encouraged to go back to a previous test and just review the division facts. Wonderful skill. You should be able to just recognize certain types of division problems immediately and be able to do those very quickly. And then here the mental math. We talked about this actually in a previous lesson, and we looked at just for patterns when you're counting by fives, whether you start at 1 and you start counting by 5, so 1, and then you add 5, you get 6, and you add 5 again, you get 11, you add 5 again, you get 16, and you notice that the numbers always added 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6. If you start at 2 and start counting by fives, they'll end in 2, 7, 2, 7, 2, 7. So 2, 7, 12, 17, etc. Okay, so just looking for those patterns right there. Go ahead and do these problems. You'll notice that they chose these problems very specifically. Here it's 22 plus 5, 22 minus 5. Here it's 38 plus 5, 38 minus 5, 44 plus 5, 44 minus 5. So just look for patterns and maybe use the patterns that you discovered up here to draw some conclusions. Mathematics is a lot about pattern recognition, so just take some time and recognize those patterns. Okay, let's jump into today's new concept, and we're talking about sales tax. Basically, when you purchase something, many times there is a tax, and that tax money goes to some government entity. It goes to maybe a local government in your city, or maybe the federal government. But you have some type of tax usually added on to the purchase price of some item. It says here tax is an extra amount of money that sometimes must be paid when you purchase certain items. And that tax always depends on maybe the percentage of that tax rate, the amount that you purchase. And so we're going to use that information to calculate what the tax would be on a purchase. You have to read these problems very carefully, so don't race through them. Take your time reading them and analyzing each little bit of information. Make sure that you are picking up on all of the information that is there, as far as whether it's a number or even a word might change what the problem is asking. So example 1 says Yin bought 6. You notice I'm kind of marking things as I go through here. I'm kind of just highlighting some things that I noticed right away that are important. 6 bolts priced at 89 cents each. That's important, each. The total sales tax was 32 cents. So how much did Yin spend in all? So the first thing we want to do is we want to figure out what the cost is for just the bolts, not including the sales tax. Just get the price for just the 6 bolts. You bought 6 of them, and they are 89 cents each. So that would be 89, another 89, another 89, another 89, another 89, another 89. That's 89 cents 6 times, or in other words, 6 times 89. And they show you that operation right here. When you do that, you get 534 cents. But in dollars, if you move this decimal point then over 2 places, you would get $5.34. Now, that would be the cost of your 6 bolts if you did not have any sales tax. But with the additional sales tax, it says the total sales tax, this is now added on to your total price, is 32 cents. So all you're going to do is you're going to take that sales tax and you're going to add it on to the $5.34 that you calculated earlier to get the total cost. This is the amount of money that you will pay for your 6 bolts. Okay? Example 2. Pam bought a blouse priced at $25. One blouse, $25. The sales tax rate was 8 cents per dollar. Not 8 cents total. 8 cents for each dollar that you spend. 8 cents is going to be added on for every dollar that you spend. How much tax did Pam pay? So in this case, the $25 is the total amount for the cost of the blouse. But then you're going to add on 8 cents for each dollar that is the cost of the blouse. So that is important to note here. Remember, I said when you're reading these, read it very carefully, slowly, pay attention to each word, because in this case, these two words, per dollar, that changes everything. You have to really be aware of that. Okay? So if she didn't, but if she only spent $1, then you would add on 8 cents. If she spent $2, then you would add on 8 cents and another 8 cents, a total of 16 cents. If she spent a total of $3, then you would add on 8 cents 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24 cents, and so on. But she spent $25. So to figure out the tax for her purchase, you have to take the number of dollars she spent, which is 25, multiplied by 8 cents, because it's 8 cents per dollar, to get a total of 200 cents, which is $2. That's the additional tax that is added on to her $25. Okay? So she paid a tax of $2. So it doesn't ask you to figure this out, but she would spend a total of the 25 plus now the additional $2 for a total of $27. Okay. In the next example here, you're asked to figure out how much money would you get back if you paid for something and you gave the attendant or the clerk or whoever more than you need to pay, and they owe you some cash back. Okay? So if you don't have the exact amount of money that you need to purchase something, you usually give them more than the total cost, and then you get some money back because you don't have the exact amount. So we want to figure out how much change, how much cash, how much money would you get back. In this example, it says Midge bought a pair of pants priced at $23.99. That's before tax, before anything. $23.99, that's the price on the tag. The sales tax was $1.56. Total. It just says the sales tax. That's the total amount right there. Midge paid the clerk $40. I hope you can see right away that $23.99 and $1.56 with the tax, that's not going to be $40. But that's all she had. She only had $40. And so that's what she's going to give the clerk at the store. How much money should she get back? Well, let's first of all figure out how much money she owes. $23.99 for the price of the pants, plus the sales tax for a total of $25.55. If you add those two numbers together, you should get $25.55. That's what she owes the clerk. That's what she owes the store. But she has $40. Let's say two $20 bills. So she has to give the clerk two $20 bills. That's a total of $40, but she doesn't owe $40. She only owes $25.55. So the clerk at the store needs to give the difference back to you. Let's figure out what that difference is. You take $40, subtract what you owe, and this is the amount that you get paid back. By the way, if you remember, I mentioned a way that you can do subtraction is also to figure out what you would add to get the original number. So that's very helpful when you're talking about money. So if you owe $25.55, you're going to figure out what you have to add to get up to 40. And you'll often hear people, when they give back change, they'll count back your money with what you owed, and then they count back up to what you gave them. In this case, you owe $25.55 and you gave them 40. So let's count from $25.55 up to 40. And let's do it just in segments, in portions here. So $25.55, if I want to go up to $26, I would add 45 cents. And then from 26 up to, let's go just up to 30, that is another $4. And then from 30 to 40, that's an easy one. That is going to be another $10. So the clerk may give you back 45 cents. Put that in your hand. Then she may say, okay, now that's 26, and then give you 4 more, that's 30, and 10 more would be 40. So she would give you back a total of 10 plus 4 plus 45 cents. That is your $14.45 right there. Okay? Here are 2 practice problems for us, so let's just walk through these together. And again, you could pause the video right now and try these on your own, and then restart the video and check your work against mine. Make sure we both did it correctly. Sarah bought 3 pairs of socks. Each pair was priced at $2.24. Each pair priced at $2.24. The total sales tax is 34 cents. So altogether, how much did Sarah spend on socks? That's what we want to figure out. So she bought 3 pairs. Each pair is $2.24. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take 3 times $2.24. So 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus the 1 is 7. 3 times 2 is 6. So $6.72. If I did that correctly, that's how much she owes for all 3 pairs of socks. The total sales tax is 34 cents. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to add on 34 cents here. Okay? Line up my decimal points, and I've got 2 plus 4 is 6, 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1, 6 and 1 is 7, and the decimal point is right there. So she owes a total of $7.06. Okay? For those socks. Hakeem paid $10 for a tape that cost $6.95. The sales tax was 49 cents. How much money should Hakeem get back in change? So in this case, the total cost of the tape was $6.95 plus the sales tax of 49 cents, and then he gave the clerk a $10 bill. So let's figure out how much he needs to pay and then how much he should get back in change. So in this case, it is the $6.95 plus the 49 cents. We're going to add those together to find out his total cost. 5 and 9 is 14, carry the 1, 9 and 1 is 10, and plus the 4 is 14, carry the 1, and I get $7.44. This is the amount that he owes. Now we have to figure out how much money should he get back. And I'm going to subtract. In my mind, I'm going to be doing this by figuring out how much should I add to 744 to get up to 10. So I look at this and I say, okay, 744, to get from 744 up to $8, I would add 56 cents. 56 cents and 44 cents gives me $8. And then from $8 up to 10, that would be another $2. So I know that I'm going to get back $2.56. Okay? You can subtract these also if you want to. You borrow from the 10, make that a 9, make this a 10, borrow from that, make that a 9, make that a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 4 is going to be 5, and 9 minus 7 is 2. You would get exactly the same answer of 256. Okay? Alright, you can pause it here, work through all 30 problems, restart it, come back and see what I can help with as far as any hints that I give you, and we'll work through some of these together. Mixed practice problem set. Okay, Blackbeard brought home 30 bags. Each bag contained 320 gold coins. How many coins were there in all? So 30 bags, each bag 320, so you need to take 320 times 30. Now immediately I look at this and I see each of these are ending in a 0. So I could put 2 zeros at the end of my answer. I know, because really those are like tens right there. So I know if I take 10 times 10, I'm going to get 100, 2 zeros at the end. And then just take 3 times 32. Well, 3 times 32, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Done. Okay? The movie was 3 hours long. If it started at 11:10 a.m., at what time did it end? So 11:10, if you go from 11:10, then you would go another hour later, it would be 12:10 p.m., then 1:10 p.m., and then 2:10 p.m. There are your 3 hours. So I believe it is 2:10 p.m. Okay? Jeremy is reading a 212-page book. If he has finished page 135, how many pages does he still need to read? So you're just going to take 212 minus 135 because you're finding the difference. How much more? What's left over? All of those terms help you think of difference. It should make you think in your mind the difference between two numbers. Okay? So to do this, 212 minus 135, 2 minus 5 can't do that, so I'm going to borrow from the 1. Make that a 0. That becomes 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Then this is 0 minus 3. I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow from the 2. Make that a 1. That becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so it's 77. Okay? Again, you can think about what do I add to get from 135 up to 212. Either way works. Okay? Number 4, Brad, Jan, and Jordan each score 1/3 of the team's 42 points. So you have 3 players right there, and they can make a total of 42 points. And they each score the same number of points. So 1/3 of the points go to Brad, 1/3 to Jan, and 1/3 to Jordan. So you have to take 42 and divide it into 3 equal portions. 42 divided by 3, 3 into 42, 42 times 1/3, all of that is the same. So 3 goes into 4 one time, bring down the 2, 3 goes to 12, 4 times, you should get 14. Each of them made 14 points. 14 plus 14 plus 14 is 42. 14 times 3, 42. Round 4,286 to the nearest thousand. Let's identify where this thousand is. The 4 is in the thousands place. So we look at the number right behind it. It's less than 5. So we're going to round down to the lower thousand number, which would be 4,000. Estimating is a powerful skill. Keep practicing that. The shirt was priced at $16.98. The tax was $1.02. He gave the clerk 20. How much money should he get back? So you want to do this. $16.98 plus the tax of $1.02. That's 17. Oops, sorry. Let's add these. 8 and 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 9 and 1 is 10. And 6 and 1 and the 1 down here. That's going to be 8. And the 1 that's over here, just add that straight down. Bring that straight down. That's $18 total. Well, the clerk gave you 20. So 20 minus 18 is 2. What fraction of the letters in the following words are I's? Well, we need to figure out first the total. So there are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 34 letters. How many are I's? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 I's if I counted those correctly. 7 out of 34. Always reduce these fractions if you can. This one doesn't reduce because 7 doesn't go into 34. So just leave it as 7 out of 34. You know that word? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yeah, that's a nice tongue twister for you. Use the information below to answer problems 8 to 10. All right, let's see what we have here. In the first 8 games were played, and the Rio Hondo football team won 6 games and lost 2. They won 6, they lost 2. They won their next game by a score of 24 to 20. The team will play 12 games in all. Now, there's a lot of numbers there. A lot of numbers. So what they're testing you here is to see if you can analyze the information and pick out what is important and use whatever you need in order to answer a specific question. In the first 9 games of the season, how many games did Rio Hondo win? Well, 9 games. Be careful there. It says 9 games, and they're testing to see if you read it very carefully. Up here in the information, they say first 8 games, and in those first 8 games, they won 6, and then the next game, which would be their 9th game, what did they do? They won. So the first 8 games, they won 6, and the 9th game, they won. So now that's a total of 7 wins. How many games did they win? A total of 7. Rio Hondo won its 9th game by how many points? Here's the score. They won, so their score must have been the bigger number, the 24. The losing team had 20. That's a difference of 4. What is the greatest number of games Rio Hondo could win this season? Not that they have won, but they could win. Well, after the first 9 games, we already figured out that they have 7 wins. And the team will play 12 games in all, total. They've already played 9, so they have 10, 11, 12. They got 3 more to play. 3 more to play means if they win all 3, they could have a total of the first 7 wins and 3 more. They could have a total of 10 if they won the remaining 3 games. Alright, I'm just going to make a couple notes, quick notes on these problems. This circle is asking you to compare. And hopefully you don't really have to do all of the operations here. Just pause sometimes and just check the problem. Just study it for a second, because sometimes there are some really quick shortcuts that you can do. This is saying 3 times 4 times 5. And the other side is saying 3 times 4 times 5. Notice I read that in the same order, but they're not written in the same order. That's because multiplication, the operation, it doesn't matter what order you multiply in. It's going to be the same answer. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So these two sides are going to be equal. Okay? Number 12 and number 13, remember every equation asks you a question. What minus 137 will give you 257? Well, that question is asking the same thing as what is 257 plus 137? If you're subtracting on the left side, that's the same thing as adding that number on the right side. So if you add 257 and 137, you will find out what that missing number is. Same thing over here. What plus 137 gives you 257? Well, that's the same question as what is 257 minus 137? You'll get exactly the same value. So go ahead and do that difference, that subtraction problem, and you'll find out what this missing number is, n. Okay, I'm going to let you work through 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Make sure you do exponents first. 26, here's a question. Make sure you do exponents first and then do multiplication, and then get this letter, that variable, all by itself. Okay, do all of those, check your work, and let me know if you've got questions on those. Take your time with these. These are important. I know you keep seeing them, but it's very, very important that you keep doing them over and over and over again. It is refining, fine-tuning your skills at these operations. You're going to need them for the rest of your life. 27. Let's jump down here. The names of 1/4 of the months begin with the letter J. Interesting. What percent of the months begin with the letter J? So here it says 1/4. That's a fraction. And now it's just saying what percent of the months begin with the letter J. It's the same thing. We're still talking about the letter J, but they just want you to write this fraction as a percent. Percent means per 100. So what it's asking here, I'm gonna explain this a couple ways. You know that 1 out of every 4 months starts with the letter J. Well, let's think of it this way. There aren't only 4 months in the year, there are 12. So what if I said, well, how many is that out of 12? That means if I take the bottom number, 4, and I multiply by 3, I get 12. That means I need to multiply the top number by 3 as well to find out what that top number is. 1 times 3 is 3. So by saying a fourth of the months start with the letter J, you're saying 3 out of the 12 months. 3 over 12 is the same thing as 1/4. Okay? Well, I could keep doing that. I could change this bottom number into any number I want to. And what if I wanted to change it to something specific so that I could find percent? Well, percent means per 100. So now I need to figure out 4 times what gives me 100. That number is 25. So 1 times 25 gives me 25, and that actually gives me the percent. Per salt. Per salt means per 100. Okay? So 25 out of 100. That's what percent means. If you take 25 and divide by 100, you get 0.25 as a decimal. But if we write it and say it as a percent, we say that's 25%. That symbol right there means percent, per 100. We don't need to write the 100 in the denominator. Okay? What is the perimeter of this rectangle in millimeters? Notice, be careful, watch and read carefully. They're asking for the answer in millimeters. They give you the units here in centimeters. They're testing you. Okay, make sure you're reading and paying attention. So to find perimeter, we add up all 4 of the sides. You can add up first and then change from centimeters to millimeters, or you can change each of these to millimeters and then add them all up. I'm going to add them all up first. So in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal in length. Oops, sorry. So 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, that is going to be 6 centimeters. And since there are 100 there are 10 millimeters in each centimeter. Okay, centimeter, that prefix centi, that's 100, and milli is for 1,000, so there are only 10, a power of 10 difference. So 10 millimeters and a centimeter, those are equal in length. So if I have 1 centimeter, that's the same as 10 millimeters. But I don't have just 1, I have 6. So 6 centimeters is going to be the same thing as 6 times 10, or 60 millimeters. Okay? Number 29, draw a rectangle that is similar to the rectangle in problem 28 and whose sides are twice as long. What is the perimeter in centimeters of the rectangle you drew? So what it's asking here is, look at this rectangle up here. We want it to draw it similarly. So it means that it has to be just enlarged or shrunk, but in the same proportion. You don't want to stretch it out thinner, or you don't want to make it taller or wider. You want to make everything in the same type of proportion. So what that means is the length here in our rectangle is 2 when the width is 1. So that means the length has to stay twice as long as the width, 2 to 1. So we want it to be sides are twice as long. So that means the sides are not going to be 2, they're going to be 4. And the width is going to be not 1, but 2. So this would be 4 centimeters, this would be 1 centimeter, this would be 4, this would be 1. And now you add all those up and you should get 4 and 1 and 4 and 1. That's going to be 10 centimeters. Okay? Number 30. Kurt spun around 3 times and then fell down dizzy. I can understand. How many degrees did Kurt turn? Well, every time you go around once, that's 360 degrees. So if you do that 3 times, That's going to be 360 times 3, which is 1080. 1080 degrees is the total number of degrees that he turned. Okay? All right. Keep up the great work, and don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions.